How's it going, everybody? My name is Absalom and welcome to my channel. Today I have finally finished the Blood of the Dead Easter egg guide, and I hope that this video helps you get this done. So first things first, this is the class setup that I like to use, and if you can't copy this, don't worry, I've linked a class setup that can be used at level 1 or higher in the description below. I use the Path of Sorrows for so many reasons, so I highly recommend this as your specialist weapon. I also link timestamps to every single step, just in case you already know some of the steps. So let's get right into this Easter egg with the very first thing. The first thing I like to do is build up my specialist to a full charge. After I have that, then I go ahead and turn on the power switch that is right outside of spawn in the powerhouse. This is when I make my way to the catwalk and then I activate the catwalk. Now I use my specialist weapon when I cross the catwalk for two reasons. The first being that it'll help you work towards building your specialist to level 2, and then the second is just that it helps you get across the catwalk easily because you probably don't have very good guns at this point. The next thing is that you need to work your way to the bottom area of the map into Building 64 and flip the second power switch that will power the other side of the map. Now you can start working on the preliminary requirements in order to start this Easter egg. The first thing I like to do is to build the shield. This is going to be required throughout the entire Easter egg and it'll be very helpful. Next, I like to work towards the tomahawk, which is located in the fast travel tunnel between the warden's house and the showers. I want to stress that for every single one of these preliminary requirements, I've linked a complete guide in the description below that should help you get all of these done. So after I have the shield and the tomahawk, now I go ahead and get the spoon melee weapon, which will actually help you start the Easter egg, so it's very important. I'm showing you every single thing in a specific order to help you do this more efficiently and not waste time running around the map. So after the spoon, then I go ahead and get the free blundergat on the warden's office desk, which will allow you to do the next thing, which is getting the upgraded magma gat in the new industries building. I highly recommend using the magma gat over the acid gat, as the magma gat will help you out so much more in all the Easter egg steps. Once you've done this, then if you're playing in solo, then I highly recommend picking up the ray gun over the next few rounds, as this will come in very handy for the later end of this Easter egg. But you don't really need to do this in co-op. The next thing I recommend is getting the upgraded shield. This is not required, but it will come in very handy throughout this entire Easter egg. The last thing is to get the monkeys. Again, these are not required, however, they will let you start the Easter egg very early, and otherwise you have to wait till round 17 in order to start things off. So now you should have all of the preliminary things all done, which is the tomahawk, magma gat, spoon, the upgraded shield, and the monkeys, and now you are actually ready to start this Easter egg. Again, I just want to stress that everything I just mentioned will have complete guides in the description below to help you get these done. Now you need to make your way to the warden's house, where you're going to melee the wall at the top of the stairs with the spoon. The spoon does not need to be upgraded into the golden spork, it can just be the normal spoon, but if done correctly you'll see scratches appear on the wall letting you know that you are done with this step. The next thing is that you need to activate Pack-a-Punch. I do this at this point because it'll spawn in a warden. However, if you've already done Pack-a-Punch, then you can go to the numbers panel at the bottom of the Citadel tunnels and input 666 in order to get a warden to spawn. Either way, once you have a warden, now you need to make your way back to the warden's house, throw a monkey at the bottom of the wall that you just knifed with the spoon, and the warden will start to attack the monkey, eventually slamming it, and then it'll open up the secret room inside of the warden's house. Once you're in this little room, then there are two things you need to worry about. The first is to hold interact on the warden sitting in the electric chair, which is going to trigger a really cool short little in-game animation where you blow apart the wall. It also despawns all the zombies when the screen flashes white. The second thing that you need to do when you're in this room is to pick up the red orb that is sitting on the corner of the desk on the left side of the room. Now that you have your red orb, you need to make your way back to the original spawn where you're going to see this map on the left side of the room. You need to hold interact and place the red orb. Now you need to run over to the Carnorium that is sitting on the floor, hold interact, and it's going to start to levitate, and it'll also low-key despawn all the zombies. So after a moment of this book floating, there's going to be a bird that spawns in, and this bird is going to be just a little bit of an inconvenience. He's going to disappear the Carnorium, which we obviously need, and now it is our job to go and track down this bird. To find it, you'll need to walk around the map using your spectral vision on your shield, which allows you to see the bird. So because there are over 40 locations for the bird, I have simplified this by giving you hot spots to stand in order to hear the bird. So go to each of these spots until you hear the bird, and then you should be able to track it down by following the sound. The way this works is that the bird spawns in 4 times, once each round, and then you need to find it and spectral blast it in order to make it go away. If the round ends before you find the bird, it's okay, just keep looking in the next round, and it doesn't reset if you've already started. So now I'm going to quickly show you how exactly this step works.
There you are, thief!
So there you can see how I found the bird and then used my spectral blast to make it fly away. You're going to need to do this 3 times for the first 3 birds, and again, it's okay if you fail, just go to a new round and try again, and this won't reset your progress. When you finish getting the first 3 birds, then you will need to stop and then make sure that one of the teammates has the tomahawk for the 4th and final bird. For the 4th bird, I want to stress that whoever has the tomahawk and is doing the 4th bird, they need to be by themselves on the map. The bird will glitch out and fly away if other teammates are nearby. So for this last bird, it won't be visible with the spectral vision, and instead you will hear the bird alongside of sobbing noises. Here's what that sounds like. So the sobbing noises will only be able to be heard when you are right on top of the bird location. And for this bird, it will only spawn in the locations near the numbers panel in the Citadel tunnels. So these locations are Michigan Avenue, the warden's house or an office, Citadel tunnels, the showers, and the docks. These are the only locations you need to check for the 4th and final bird. But now that you've found the 4th bird, you need to head down to the numbers panel and then shock it with your spectral blast and then input the code 872 in order to spawn in a zombie's blood. I recommend using the temporal gift Elixir before picking up the zombie's blood in order to buy yourself some more time for this last part. Now that you're affected by zombie's blood, now you just need to run to wherever the 4th bird is in your game, and then you're going to use your spectral vision on your shield in order to see the bird, and then you're going to throw your tomahawk at where the bird is, and then if done correctly, the Crenorium will fall down to the ground, and then you can hold interact and pick it up. Once you have the Crenorium, now you just need to head over to the warden's house and go into the secret room where you're going to place the Crenorium in the hands of the warden. This will then complete the bird step, and then now you are on to the next step, which is the 5 trials. So once you place the Crenorium, the pages are going to start to flip, and then you need to hold interact on the pages, and then use your spectral vision to see 3 numbers. Now these 3 numbers are going to be completely random every single game, so just make note of whatever 3 numbers you have in your game, and then now you need to make your way down to the bottom of the Citadel tunnels. Once you make it down there, then put in your 3-digit code into the box, remember using your spectral blast to activate the numbers, and if done correctly, then the numbers will flash and allow you to move on to the first of the 5 trials. Now I'm going to quickly show you all 5 locations for each of these trial portals because you're going to need to find a red light from the lighthouse that is going to be pointing at one of these portals. So the first possible location will be in the showers, which the red light will be coming through the Michigan Avenue and you'll see it in the showers. The next one is in New Industries, which is right outside of spawn, and the red light will be kind of cutting through the catwalk area. For the third possible location, it's located in the docks. This one is really close to the numbers panel, so it's easy to check this one first. And the light will be cutting through the entire map, and you'll see the portal spawn right there beside the box. For the fourth location, it's in Michigan Avenue, and you won't really be able to see the red light because it's right beside the lighthouse, so just use your spectral vision to see if there's a portal there. The last possible location is in the powerhouse right beside the Pack-a-Punch location, and you'll see the red light right when you get up to the powerhouse. So to recap, you'll get your numbers and you'll plug them into the machine. The red light will highlight one of the 5 portals, and then you'll need to go find that portal. Now the trials can be in any order, so I'm just going to show you which order I had in my game, starting with trial 1 as the banjo. For every single one of these trials, you'll need to find the portal and then use your spectral blast to activate the portal. Once you've activated the portal, the trial is now active, so for this one, I definitely recommend having all players in the showers before you activate the portal because you won't be able to leave the showers. Now at this point, a ghost is going to spawn in holding a banjo next to the portal, and it's going to start to play it. One player is going to need to interact with the banjo and then hold interact again in order to pick up the banjo. I recommend only picking up the banjo at the beginning of a round, because once you pick it up, then your job is to now kill as many zombies as possible in order to sacrifice them to the banjo. Now, if you don't kill enough zombies, or if you don't kill them in time, you will actually start to take damage, so this is why I recommend doing this at the beginning of a round. Either way, once you pick up the banjo, now this blue circle is going to spawn in, and this is where you need to kill zombies. The blue circle is also going to start to move around the room as you kill zombies, so you're going to need to keep up with the circle in order to keep this going. I also recommend the player that has the banjo is the only one killing the zombies, because the zombies will be sacrificed to the banjo, and this will speed up the trial. So after the circle goes away, you'll hear the banjo start to play, signifying that you were done with that step, and now you just need to return the banjo to the ghost. The ghost will then fade into the wall and drop a little red orb. You need to pick up this red orb, and then now you are on to the second trial. My second trial was located in New Industries, and just because these trials are in completely random orders, I want to remind you that I put timestamps in the description below that you can skip to whichever trial you are on. So to kick things off, you need to go back to the warden's house and then use your spectral vision to get your 3 numbers, just like you did with the first trial, and then you're going to make your way down to Citadel tunnels and input that 3-digit number. And also, like I mentioned earlier, the numbers are going to be completely random every single time, so you just need to put whatever numbers you have. Now you need to go find your portal, and for mine, it was in the New Industries building, so this one you just had to hit this portal, and then it's very, very, very important that you do not kill a zombie in the D block. This is the original spawn of Mob of the Dead if you don't know this map location. I recommend doing this one at the end of the round and saving at least 2 zombies. In co-op, you can have one person hold a zombie and the other person do the step. But now you're going to need to sacrifice a zombie in the D block area and then use your spectral blast in order to bring this ghost to life. Once it is visible, now you need to shock this ghost with your key and hold this as long as possible. This is going to be very, very important because it's going to be draining the life out of this ghost. So you'll know the ghost is getting a little bit closer to death when he starts to turn a little bit more red. And eventually the ghost will turn all the way red, and then it'll get a lot faster and it'll be permanently visible. In solo, the ghost takes around 4 blasts in order to get it to be completely visible, and in co-op, it's about 6 blasts. Either way, you just want to shock this ghost and then hold that key down as long as possible in order to drain this soul. So the whole point of this trial is that this ghost is actually a murderer, and it's going to kill our friend, the other ghost in New Industries. So we are going to try to drain the soul out of this zombie in order to stop him from committing murder. So this trial is what I consider to be the hardest of the 5 trials, so I want to share a few strategies with you in order to make this go a little bit easier. In solo, I would just save a couple zombies, and then once the ghost is activated, then I would make a crawler with the ray gun, and then kill off the remaining zombies, and then that will allow you to focus on the ghost in peace. As for co-op, you can have one person hold the final zombie, the other player focus on the ghost, and then when you run out of your 4 charges, you can swap places and then finish off the ghost. Remember, it does take 6 charges in co-op, so the upgraded shield only has 4. Either way, once you finish the ghost, it'll turn red and become completely visible, and it's going to be on its route to New Industries. When it arrives in this room, you want to buy the trap, which will kill the ghost right before it murders our friend, and then this red orb will drop. Now all you need to do is sit back and wait for this trap to finish spinning, and then you'll be able to go pick up the red orb. Picking it up will now signify that you are done with the second trial, and now you are ready to move on with the third trial. So the third trial in my game was the one that's located in the docks, and this is famously known as the Morse code trial. Now, a lot of people think this one is really hard in solo, but I'm going to show you a really easy strategy to get this done. So to start things off, you need to get your 3-digit code and then go plug them into the Citadel tunnels, just like you've been doing for the previous trials, and you will do for the rest of time. So after your numbers flash, you know you're ready to go find the red light and then find the portal, and so for this trial, it is located in the docks right beside the mystery box. Spectral blast the portal in order to start this trial, and now you need to head to the warden's office where you're going to save a couple zombies, and you're going to use the ray gun to make crawlers. This is in solo. In co-op, you can just have one player hold the last couple zombies, and the other player can work on the trials. But in solo, it is very important that you make crawlers because you're going to need a little bit of time in order to do this. So now you want to run to this little device right here, and now I'm going to quickly show you how this works. So this is a Morse code machine that you need to now trial and error in order to send a message to a boat. Morse code works with dots and dashes, so pressing interact will serve as the dot, and then holding interact for over 1 second will count as a dash. This code will be random every game, so you just need to trial and error this until eventually your character says something to confirm it. You know you've input the wrong order when the warden laughs at you, and so you need to start from the beginning, changing the one that you got wrong. Also, I haven't 100% confirmed this, but it has worked in a few games of mine, and that is that the code that you get for the trial, if it's added up, it will result in the numerical sequence for the Morse code step. So if your numbers were 1, 2, 3, then 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6, and then your Morse code sequence would be that of 6 in Morse code. I don't recommend you do this unless you are very familiar with the International Morse code. So here's a look at what my sequence sounds like in my game and how I solve it.
Yeah, that appears to have worked.
So once your character confirms your code, now have every single player head up to the infirmary, and then what you need to do now is kill a zombie, and then use your spectral vision to see a ghost, spectral blast the ghost, and now it'll be permanently visible. Now, at the beginning of the next round, you can start killing zombies next to this ghost, and it's going to bind itself to one of the players. At this point, whoever the ghost is bound to needs to start heading to the docks, and on their way they need to kill zombies. Sacrificing zombies to the ghost will allow the ghost to move, and if you don't kill any zombies, then the ghost will stay stationary. Now, unlike the Banjo trial, your teammates can definitely help you kill zombies in order to help this ghost along. However, just keep in mind that it can get a little clustered and it might be easier to do this with 1 or 2 players. So I find the best route to be going through the upper cell blocks past the shield, and then you take the gondola down to the docks. This will not only put you right beside the portal, but it'll also buy you some time without having to worry about zombies. So you can go any route, but this is definitely the most efficient. And in that case, I recommend getting the gondola up at the top and ready to go before you start this part of the trial. So now you're just going to lead the ghost into the portal, it's going to disappear, and then it's going to drop this little red orb like you've been getting in every single trial, pick up the red orb, and now you're on to the next trial. So for this next possible trial, this one is in Michigan Avenue, and I like to think of this as the defense trial. So to start things off, of course, you're going to go to the warden's house and then get your 3 numbers, just like you do for every single trial. Go down to the Citadel tunnels, you know exactly what to do, input your 3-digit code into this box, and then now you are ready to look for your portal. Now for this one, it is in Michigan Avenue, and like I mentioned earlier, the little red light is not going to be visible, usually unless you were like out in the warden's house, but you can just use your shield to spectral vision and you'll see a portal pop up right here, blast it, and it'll come to life. Now at this point, you need to head to the cafeteria and you can sacrifice 1 zombie. You can do this in the middle of a round, the beginning of a round, end of the round. It doesn't really matter because you're just going to be killing everything that moves. Sacrificing that zombie will now spawn in a ghost, which you'll be able to see in spectral vision. Blast this ghost with your spectral blast and it'll make it visible, and now all you need to worry about is just defending this ghost. Also at this time, some of the map locations will be on lockdown, not allowing you to go in those areas, so I recommend having all teammates near the ghost in order to help protect this thing. So a good strategy is to use the Magmagat a lot during this. You can shoot it at the bottom of the window barriers or at spawn points for the zombies, and that'll pretty much eliminate any kind of threat coming towards this ghost. When you get to Michigan Avenue, a warden will spawn, so I highly recommend using your specialist weapon, and when the ghost gets to the portal, now the red orb will drop and you just need to pick it up, and now you are on to the 5th and final trial. The 5th trial is the Simon Says, and it's located in the powerhouse. This one is a little tricky in solo, but I'm going to show you a really easy strategy. So once again, get your 3-digit codes and then head down to the Citadel tunnels, shock the numbers panel and put in your 3 digits, and then once the numbers flash, you are ready to find your portal. For this trial, the portal is located in the powerhouse just outside of spawn, and again, the red light will kind of shine through the map, but you won't really be able to see it until you get right up on the powerhouse. Spectral blast the portal, and now you need to head to building 64. You'll know you're ready to start this part of the trial when you see the back right generator smoking and sparking with electricity. Hold interact on this generator, and now you're ready to start with the Simon Says. So the way this works is that there are 6 power boxes around the room. I've made this diagram to help show where all 6 are, but you'll know you've found them when you see a piece of paper with a symbol attached to the front of the machine like so. Activating the smoking generator will trigger a game of Simon Says. At this point, there will be 5 sequences of lights that will flash on each generator. Sequence 1 has 1 light, Sequence 2 has 2 lights, 3 has 3 lights, 4 has 4 lights, and 5 has 5 lights. When the sequences start, lights will flash in a specific order, and then you need to go to each generator and interact with them and input the same sequence. So to clarify, I'm going to demonstrate on this diagram to make this a little bit easier. So let's say you're on sequence 5 that has 5 lights. It might look like this. Gen 1 would light up, and then Gen 5 would light up, Gen 3 would light up, Gen 6 would light up, and then finally Gen 4 would light up. Then you would go input by interacting with each power box or generator to match that sequence of 1, 5, 3, 6, and 4. Completing a sequence will automatically start the next sequence, and failing the sequence will automatically fail the trial. So now I'm going to quickly show you what it looks like in game and how I do this. So I'm on the 5th sequence. I've already done the first 4, and this is what the 5th one looks like. So I'm looking at the lights light up. I'm making a mental note at this point, and then I'm going to go input the code. In solo, I recommend making a crawler or just leaving 1 zombie, and then you can also pause the game in between each light and just write down what the code is so you don't forget, because it can be a little difficult with solo. In co-op, I like to have 1 other person in the room and you just work together to get the order. So after you get the 5th sequence, a thing is going to happen where 3 of the generators are going to stay lit up. You need to write down which 3 of these are or make a mental note, and then there's going to be 1 that flashes to kind of throw you off. Once you have the 3 that lit up, now you need to go and record the symbols that are on those 3 generators. So here's a look at what the symbols are, and again, it will only be 3 of these in your game. Because these are really similar looking, I recommend writing these down or taking a photo of them. You can have a teammate cover you during this part, or you can pause the game in solo to write these down. I've linked this photo below just to help you out later on as well. So if you're confident on all 3 of your symbols, don't forget that there is a punch card you need to pick up on that table right there at the edge of the room, and now you need to make your way back to the spawn room. Now hold interact on this little machine and input your punch card, and now these symbols are going to appear on these little yellow screens. Now you just need to simply match the 3 symbols that you wrote down earlier to the 3 screens that are in this room. All you need to do is hold interact on each screen, and it's going to flip it into another symbol. Here's a quick look at what the 6 possible symbols will be, and again, I've linked this photo in the description below to help you out during this step. So once you're confident on your 3 converted symbols, now you can move on to the last part of this trial. Now you just need to run across this little area into the powerhouse where you shocked the portal earlier, and now you're going to see a ghost with your spectral vision on top of these little power boxes. Each power box has a symbol taped on the front, just like in the Simon Says portion of this, but what you're going to need to do is spectral blast the ghost when it reaches the symbol that you just converted. Doing so will make the ghost permanently visible for that time being, and he'll flip the switch, and then it'll be permanently switched. Now, you need to do this for all 3 symbols. You can do it in any order you want. Just be sure to shock the ghost when it's going to the symbol that you need. You can also shock the ghost when it's on the way to the symbol instead of waiting until it's right on top of the symbol. So once you've shocked the ghost on all 3 symbols, it'll disappear and drop the final red orb, which you need to pick up, and now you're ready to move on to the last part of this Easter egg. Now you just need to go to Richtofen's laboratory right where you spawned, place all of your red dots on this little map right here, and congratulations, you are now done with all the steps of the Easter egg. Now we are ready to prepare for the boss fight, so I recommend going to your little cell blocks and collecting a max ammo or whatever power-ups you might have. Get your perks, get all your max ammos, whatever you need. Get your shield charges up. You're going to need at least 2 shield charges for the boss fight. You can get this during the boss fight, but I like to do it before I go in the boss fight just to make it a little bit easier. But anyways, just get completely prepared and get your entire team up to the warden's house in the secret room. Once everybody's up there, hold interact on the Chronorium, the screen will flash white, despawning all the zombies, and then there's going to be a couple character quotes, and once the character quotes are over, then you need to stand near the Chronorium and you'll see a little electric charge shock you, and then it'll start the cutscene. Now at this point of the Easter egg, there is going to be an epic little cutscene that is going to take up about 10 minutes. I'm going to skip a lot of this just because it is quite time consuming. I also don't really want to spoil this in case it's your first time seeing this. Also, at this point, you don't need to do anything at all except enjoy the cutscene, and you're going to be locked inside of a jail cell. After the warden says lights out, he's going to walk away, and then the bird that kind of screwed us over earlier is going to redeem himself, and then he's going to free us from the jail cells. At that point, that is when you are able to play in the game. Up until then, just enjoy yourselves and sit back and watch the warden. So here's a look at what the bird looks like. He's going to shock the little power box, and then you're going to be free. At this point, you really need to worry about picking up your equipment. So the bird is going to hover over this little satchel right here on the ground, and you need to hold interact in order to redeem your guns. At this point, you will get all of your guns, your shield, your specialist, everything you have back in order. Your shield should replenish to full health at this point, but if for some reason it doesn't, you can just go buy the new shield and repair it right there at the jail cells. So at this point, you can play this one of 2 ways. The first way is you can go stealth mode and just kind of sneak behind the warden and not really get spotted. The second way is you can raise the alarms and beeline straight to the exit. Either way, once you make it to the exit, now your main objective is to make it back to spawn. At this point, when you're crossing the catwalk, dogs are going to spawn relentlessly all the way across the catwalk. I recommend using your specialist weapon. This is another reason I use the katana during this point, because you can just zip across the catwalk and not really worry about any kind of damage. If you don't use the katana, then I recommend some sort of assault rifle or something that has a lot of ammo, and then you can just plow through all the dogs. Once you make it back to the west grounds right outside of the spawn room, the bird is going to stop, and now you need to wait for the warden to spawn in. So once he spawns in, then our friends from Mob of the Dead are going to start attacking him, and they're going to kill him, and everything's going to be fine, and the day will be saved, and the Easter egg is over. But, well, that'd be the ideal version. Instead, they fly away with him, and the final red orb drops on the ground. Pick up this red orb, and now head to Richtofen's laboratory. Now, the last thing you have to do is just place this red orb right where you placed every other red orb on the map right here in Richtofen's laboratory. It's going to despawn all the zombies, and the map is going to turn to fire, and then the wall will lower. At this point, you will see the cryo chamber that Richtofen is keeping a secret, and then the secret door will finally open. At this point, you can finally enter the boss fight, and the way that this works is there's 4 lights on the ground. For every player in the game, one of these lights will not be lit up. You need to have each player stand on one of the lights that is not lit up, and then everybody needs to hold interact at the same time. So now we are in the boss fight, and I'm going to show you how this works. So at this point, you're going to have to kill every zombie that spawns in and all the wardens. Killing the wardens will end this a little bit quicker, so you want to focus on killing all the wardens. But once all the zombies are dead, then there's going to be a max ammo and a carpenter that spawns in. The warden will also spawn in, and he's going to have a red circle around him. He's going to spawn in 3 red orbs that you need to destroy, which will lower the shields around you, and then you need to spectral blast the machine in the middle. So right here, I'm going to show you how exactly that looks. So I'm killing the last few zombies right here, and then my max ammo and my carpenter will spawn in. I do not pick these up right away because they won't go away until I'm done. So I'm going to hit the red orbs right here and destroy them, which will lower that force field, and then I'm going to spectral blast this machine. You're going to wait just a second or two, and you'll hear a noise that will signify that the machine is on. That is when you need to spectral blast this. At that point, then I go and collect my max and my carpenter to get ready for the second wave. So the second wave works exactly like the first one, except there's one little added bonus. There's going to be these red symbols on the floor, and then they're going to eventually light up. If you are on the symbol when it lights up, it will be an instant down. In solo, that is an instant death. So you don't want to run on the symbols. You have a few seconds before they light up, but I just recommend avoiding the symbols at all cost. So again, just like the first one, focus on killing all the wardens, all the zombies, and on the dogs, and make sure that you have at least one spectral blast ready to go for the machine. So once again, once all the zombies are dead, then the max ammo and carpenter are going to spawn in. The warden will spawn in one of these little areas, and then you need to destroy these 3 red orbs, just like you did in the first time. The shields will lower, and then you need to spectral blast the machine once again. Now, if you do this correctly, this will end all the zombies. They will despawn, and at this point, Richtofen is in the hot seat. You'll hear him say, "Now, gentlemen, I do the right thing." And then you need to hold interact on this machine if you are playing as Richtofen. If you're by yourself and you're not as Richtofen, then Richtofen will just magically appear into the game and climb into the machine. Everybody that's not Richtofen will just have to survive in the boss fight, and Richtofen will go into his own personal cutscene.
Oh, Scheiße. Mein Head!
So there's a look at what the cutscene looks like with Richtofen, and now this player's only job is to get back into the boss fight. So go back to the door that you entered initially in and just wait for all the character quotes to be over with, and when that's over with, then you just need to stand near the door and do the exact same thing you did before, and then you'll enter the boss fight. And if you haven't noticed, you are now Primus Richtofen. So flash your stone at everybody, and now you just need to kill the warden. The warden is super easy, so just put a few shots of the magma gat into this warden, he will drop, and the cutscene will start. Gear up, because this cutscene is a heartbreaker. Now, I'm not going to play the entire cutscene because I don't want to ruin this, but I've linked this entire cutscene in the description below. So that is everything for the Blood of the Dead Easter egg, and I hope that this tutorial helps you get this done. I have put a ton of work into this video, and it would help me out tremendously if you could click that like button for this, and I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Absalom, and I hope to see you in my next video.